He, being Grenouille, was an especially eager pupil. However, when Baldini instructed him in the production of tinctures, extracts, and essences, he was indefatigable when it came to crushing bitter almond seeds in the screw press, or mashing musk pods, or mincing dollops of gray, greasy ambergris with a chopping knife, or grating violet roots and digesting shavings in the finest alcohol. He learned how to use the separatory funnel that could draw off the purest oil of crushed lemon rinds from the milky dregs. He learned to dry herbs and flowers on grates placed in warm, shady spots, and to preserve what was once rustling foliage in wax-sealed crocks and caskets. He learned the art of rinsing pomades and producing, filtering, concentrating, clarifying, and rectifying infusions. To be sure, Baldini's laboratory was not a proper place for fabricating floral or herbal oils on a grand scale. It would have been hard to find sufficient quantities of fresh plants in Paris for that. But from time to time, when they could get cheap fresh rosemary, sage, or mint, or aniseed at the market, or a shipment of valerian roots, caraway seeds, nutmegs, or dried clove blossoms had come in, then the alchemist in Baldini would stir. And he would bring out the large alembic, a copper distilling vessel, atop it a head for condensing liquids, a so-called Moor's head alembic, he proudly announced, which he had used 40 years before for distilling lavender out on the open southern exposures of Liguria's slopes and on the heights of the Luberon. And when Grenouille chopped up what was to be distilled, Baldini hectically bustled about, heating a brick-lined hearth because speed was the alpha and omega of this procedure, and placed it on the copper kettle, the bottom well covered with water. He threw in the minced plants, quickly closed off the double-walled Moor's head, and connected 2 hoses to allow water to pass out. You see, we've got this here. This is the water. He's got a big copper one, but we're more refined these days. Our hoses, right, for water. Okay. All right, this clever mechanism for cooling the water, he had explained, was something he had added on later, since out in the field, of course, one had simply used bellowing air for cooling, and then he blew on the fire. Slowly, the kettle came to a boil, and after a while, the distillate started to flow out of the Moor's head, third tap into a Florentine flask that Baldini had set below it. At first, hesitantly, drop by drop, then in a deep, thread-like stream, it looked rather unimpressive to begin with. Like some thin, murky soup, bit by bit, however, especially after the first glass had been replaced with the second and set aside to settle, the brew separated in 2 different liquids. Below, the floral or herbal liquid fluid. Above, a thick, floating layer of oil. If one carefully poured off the fluid, which had only the lightest aroma, through the lower spout of the Florentine flask, the pure oil was left behind. The essence, the heavily scented principle of the plant. So that's what we're looking for, to boil out the principle of the plant. And in this case, the principle of the plant that makes it smell is what? Lemony. Oh, you were listening. Okay, we have way more, orange gold than we need, but orange gold. Yeah, and instead of a fire, we've got a Bunsen burner.
Lack of order. Looking more and more like a teenager's bedroom.
There we go. Oh, look. Now we've got condensation. Okay, now, it's at this point, Grenouille was fascinated by the process. If ever anything in his life had kindled his enthusiasm, granted, not a visible enthusiasm, but a hidden one, an excitement burning with cold flame.
Here it comes.
We have a drop?
We have a drop, almost.
Then it was this procedure for using fire, water, steam, and a cunning apparatus to snatch the scented soul from matter. That scented soul, that ethereal oil, that was in fact, yay, the best thing about
just
matter.
I slightly planned it.
The only reason for his interest in it, the rest of the stupid stuff, the blossoms, leaves, rind, fruit, color, beauty, vitality, and all those other useless qualities were of no concern to him. They were mere husk and ballast to be disposed of. Now, what's the subtitle of our book? Story of a Murderer, right? So, he's out for one thing, right? What is it? The scent, right? The essence of it. What do you do with the thing when you're done with its scent? You dispose of it. Do we see foreshadowing here? Right? And do we see chemistry here?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, team chemistry.
Yes! Yes! Is there anything better than foreshadowing and chemistry all at once?
No.
I think that's right. Okay, so what we were doing today is trying to recreate Grenouille's perfume making and distilling of essential oils in the chemistry lab.
So we came in and we had 2 chemistry classes, and we put some orange peel in here together just with some water, and we heated it up for a while. And on this side here we were able to collect the essential oils that are in orange, which is basically limonene. And then over in the fume cupboard we just did a few tests to prove that that was what we'd made.